And welcome to the second language tutorial YouTube video. Nouns. So you have your simple nouns like wohom, meaning person. Then you have more complex nouns that are built from simple elements. For example, meaning greeting. If you break it down, the components mean speak, clear, want, content. There are 10 grammatical noun classes in Latropeth. These will become relevant when we form adjectives and verbs and some other components. So I'm going to move through the 10 noun classes. They each have a associated affix or prefix that gets integrated into certain grammatical forms. And nouns, like lots of languages, Latropeth likes to classify nouns. So some of the categories are logical, some of them are more cultural. The first three are more on the logical side. So noun class 1, nouns in this noun class tend to refer to objects or layouts which are slender, smooth, or hard to contain. An example would be niu, meaning water. Noun class 2, che. Nouns in this category tend to refer to objects or structures which are angular or large. An example would be yehu, meaning home or hut. The third noun class is fairly straightforward, referring to humans. A noun example would be wohom, meaning person. The next few classes are more culturally, mythologically relative. They make sense from in the perspective of the culture. 4, 5, and 6 noun classes refer to nouns that denote various animals and the way the culture sees those animals as deriving their mythological origin. So we'll begin with noun class 4, lahu animals. An example being yasa, meaning wolf. Now, the legend of Lahu describes where these animals come from. There were originally some, they're actually still considered to be homeless spirits. Spirits roaming the world that don't have any domain of their own. You have other spirits that do have their own domains, like mountain spirits and forest spirits in the Latropeth early animist culture, or animist worldview. So what happens is these spirits become jealous and angry with the other spirits and with the gods, so they decide that they're going to make a big monster that is going to attack everything and destroy the gods, and then the homeless spirits will have the entire universe as their domain. So they build this big mythological beast, but things don't turn out the way they intend, and the monster ends up destroying itself. So the remnants of the destroyed Lahu mythological monster become the Lahu animals. And so nouns referring to these animals fit into noun class 4, la. So noun class 5, the wunim animals. These animals have been made by wunim. Wunim is the earth god. The earth god I first described in the very first YouTube video that I uploaded in 2009. An example of a wunim animal would be nuyum, a nuyum meaning deer. Noun class 6, eos animals. Generally these refer to fish. For example, tuku, meaning salmon. Eos is actually the female consort of the sky sea god Kue. These animals are thought to have been made by Eos. So the way the myth goes is that Eos was swimming in the sea. If you think of the sky sea god Kue as being a sort of celestial president, and Eos as being like a celestial first lady within their domain, and she swims a lot in the sea and uses the sea as if it's a kind of presidential swimming pool. So she's swimming in the sea, she lifts her head above the water close to land, looks onto the land and sees the land animals, which are made predominantly by wunim, and decides that the sea itself needs its own animals, and she proceeds to make them. There's a bit more to the story. Class 7 is more of a mixed bag. We have the Paku Kue Kula animals and some other categories as well. So Paku is the sun god, actually the most powerful one. Kue, sky sea god, just mentioned, and Kula is the moon goddess. So animals that are thought to have been made by these deities fit into noun class 7, so it's a broader class. This also encompasses, noun class 7 also encompasses gods, spirits, conditions, remedies, medicine man, elders, geological and meteorological occurrences, ancestors and time expressions. Now an example of a noun in noun class 7, ikiweye. Ikiweye is a combination of two components. Iki means to see, weye means sharp. So a falcon is something that sees sharply. Generally birds are seen to have been made by Kue, the sky sea god. Hence ikiweye fits into noun class 7. The last three noun classes, 8, 9 and 10, plants, fungi or food, fit into grammatical noun class 8. The affix or prefix is a. An example would be foya bakupaya, meaning the giant bird-eating fungus. Noun class 9, a tool or an implement. Nouns denoting a tool or implement will fit into this noun category, this noun class. An example being uha. Uha can mean axe or mallet, generally a tool that's used for striking something. Noun class 10 is a basket case, miscellaneous noun class. If other things don't fit into any other classes specifically, they generally end up in this one. Siwe, for example, a facial accessory. And let's move on to adjectives. Examples of adjectives in Latropeth. I already mentioned paya, meaning big, and the opposite, kawu, small. Yimu, very common, meaning good, yimu, and weye, meaning sharp. I already mentioned weye. It forms part of the noun ikiweye, falcon. Adjectives with nouns. Now, the word order is one thing that differs from English. In English, of course, when you have an adjective qualifying a noun directly, the adjective comes first, followed by the noun. Big, tree. In Latropeth, it's reversed. Noun comes first, adjective comes second, which would make it a bit like a Romance language, French or Spanish, for example. And so for big tree in Latropeth, you would say dasu apaya. Dasu is tree, apaya is big. Okay, the adjective in Latropeth takes a noun class prefix that agrees with the noun it is describing. It agrees in noun class. So you need to know the noun class of the noun. So for example, with the last example, which I'm going to elaborate on here, dasu means tree. Dasu fits into noun class 8. Plants generally fit into noun class 8. The prefix for noun class 8 is a. Paya means big. So if you're using an adjective that's qualifying a noun that belongs to noun class 8, you're going to have to prefix the relevant prefix for noun class 8, which is a, onto the adjective. So paya will become apaya. And then you're in a position to say big tree. So dasu apaya. Dasu apaya.